Thank you. I understand the ranking member would like to make an opening statement.
If that's all right with you, Mr. Chairman.
It is always good to hear from you.
Well, thank you kindly.
The gentleman's recognized.
I'm very grateful to you for putting together this really important hearing, and thanks to the witnesses for your statements. When commercially available AI debuted 3 years ago, the consequences were breathtaking from the start. Generative AI spurred scientific research and provided astonishing new tools to creators. The massive jumpstart to American innovation swept from social and economic domain to social and economic domain, from pharmaceutical research and quantum computing to sound recording and film editing. But generative AI has also raised profound legal, practical, even philosophical problems, such as whether individuals have a right to their name, their image, their likeness, and their voice when they're used in other people's deep fakes. If government has unlimited power to engage in AI-enabled surveillance of our citizens, and what are the appropriate standards of care, if any, for AI platforms to protect users against harmful consequences? Well, Congress takes the time to absorb the shock of these changes and these problems and examines the technology. The states have already begun to enact the first regulations on AI. We often talk about creation of rules for the road when crafting legislation to govern new technology, but I think this way of talking about consumer safety and technological ethics suggests that a road without speed limits would get us to where we're going faster. For generative AI, it's not about creating speed and safety laws and building highway guardrails, but rather building a road system in the first place. Some of my colleagues would argue that the construction of local roads is unnecessary. They say that without broad preemption, without clearing the field of all state-based legal encumbrances, AI companies and fledgling startups will have trouble complying with state laws and will be put to a disadvantage and then wither on the vine. I've heard little to suggest that broad preemption is in fact the appropriate solution to this problem. Proponents of preemption present Americans with a series of false choices, telling us we must choose a side between AI innovation or state powers and federalism, between business and consumers or national security and safe innovation. In 1816, Jefferson wrote, "Laws and institutions must go hand in hand with the progress of the human mind. As that becomes more developed, more enlightened, as new discoveries are made, new truths discovered, and manners and opinions change, with the change of circumstances, institutions must advance also to keep pace with the times." What we're seeing across America is individual states looking at these amazing technological developments and asking whether and how their laws need to change to protect their citizens and advance the common good. Today, you might think that the issue has some kind of necessary partisan valence to it, Republicans on one side, Democrats on the other, but opposition to an AI moratorium, I think, is broad and bipartisan. In fact, when some of my Republican colleagues tried to pass a moratorium through our last spending bill, attorneys general from across the states, red, white, and blue, sent a letter to Congress saying, please don't do this to our state laws. In another letter, 17 Republican governors wrote to Majority Leader Thune and Speaker Johnson, praising their, quote, big, beautiful bill, but explaining that the moratorium provision, stripping the right of any state to regulate this technology in any way without a thoughtful public debate, was, quote, the antithesis of what our founders envisioned. I surely disagree with these governors on many things, but I think that they are right and should indeed be free to create what they call, quote, smart regulations of the AI industry that simultaneously protect consumers while also encouraging this ever-developing and critical sector. In a statement submitted for this hearing, AI startup Bria wrote that a moratorium on state laws would create a giant vacuum and strip away the rules needed to, quote, raise capital, foreign partnerships, and build safely in order to win consumer trust. Without a road on which to travel forward, startups are cut out of the market in favor of large companies with the legal and fundraising teams necessary to deal with a barren legal landscape. Finally, some argue we need unrestrained AI development to properly compete with China. The subcommittee has held many bipartisan hearings on the threat to innovation, AI supremacy, and IP from China. it would be amazing, I think, even dangerous to posit that we need to become more like China to compete with China. In fact, it seems more plausible to me that to believe that stronger, better products developed in America while protecting Americans and their data through American political processes and the passage of American laws will ensure that AI is both more advanced, more durable, and more internationally competitive. Protecting American innovation, investing in American research, developing American laws to deal with problems like deep fakes, political deep fakes, discrimination through AI and so on, and investing in our workforce, I believe, is the right way to win the so-called AI arms race. American safety is not at odds with AI innovation. That should be the baseline for any conversation we have about the best way moving forward. And I very much look forward to this conversation and have already learned a lot from it. Yield back to you, Mr. Chairman.
I thank the gentleman. All other open